Well, we're heading out from the dealership now in a fresh purchase from the auction, and I thought that actually a kind of a fun topic today would be to talk about where we get some of our vehicles that are used. And actually, we are not able to take as many used vehicles in on trade as we need in order to sell. So I go to market all the time. The Dealers Auto Auction in Spokane is the auction that I visit the most. And I just went there last Thursday, and this is a great opportunity for us to talk about that. So the advantage that we get, of course, when we go to auction is that we can view a substantial size of, substantial inventory of cars before we purchase them. And when I went to Spokane this last week, I was looking for mostly price range stuff, something that's late model, 3 years old or newer, and then that we could fit into a price range that would be $15,000 or less. And then if there was anything else there that caught my eye while I was there, then obviously that would be something that we would take a look at as well. And when I tell people that we go to auction, and this past weekend, or this past week on Thursday, I had an option to look at probably 2,500 to 3,000 cars. They always think, wow, that sounds pretty good. You ought to be able to find some good stuff with 3,000 cars there. But what ends up happening is at least half of the cars that you look at are cars that you wouldn't even want to buy in the first place. They're either too old, they've had body damage that hasn't been fixed, that mechanically they're not right, they don't smell good because somebody smoked in them. So you actually get to eliminate most of those right up front. So basically, when I went there on Thursday, we were taking a peek at what was there, and I ended up buying 6 cars this last sale, and they were a little bit all over the board. I did fill my order for some vehicles that were in that $15,000 and under price range. Bought a 2014 Volkswagen Beetle, a new Beetle, that we'll be able to sell for right around $15,000. Mazda 3 hatchback that we'll be able to sell for right around $12,000. Bought a Toyota Camry that we'll be able to sell for around $17,000, but it's a late model Camry with a sunroof and all those sorts of accoutrements that are nice. And then, frankly, after that, things kind of got a little out of hand, and I ended up buying the car that I'm buying right now, or driving right now, which is a 1972 Volkswagen Beetle. And I bought a 2014 CX-9 and a 2013 Audi A4 Quattro, which is a really beautiful little car. Once we get to the auction and have purchased our cars, then we throw them on a truck and we send them home. So really, all you do when you go to auction is you're making a lot of work for yourself when you get back to the store. And when those vehicles come back to the store after they're delivered to us by the people at Rides Transportation, we inspect them in the service department, make sure that there aren't any surprises, because sometimes there are. We take them out for a test drive. We get to drive them down on the highway, and then we put a guarantee on them. We put them on the lot. And that's really only about half of the work. Once that's done, actually, and they're purchased into our inventory, then we need to get pictures of them up online and everything like that. And that's where Logan helps me out with his buddy Jeremy, and they get them online. Logan's right next to me riding quietly, staying out of the video frame, I think. And then the marketing of those cars begins. So right now, this 1972 Volkswagen Beetle that I'm driving seems to be a pretty good rig. Clutch is all right. Transmission shifts good, other than when I try to grind it into first gear from second. And I think that it could make us a pretty good, decent driver for one of our kids when they get their driver's license. Looking for a car for my son, and I think this could be a good car for him. My reasoning there, because obviously this is something that doesn't have a lot of safety features, is that with the limited amount of technology in this car, he won't be able to text and drive. He'll have his hands full because he needs to drive the car 100% of the time. Doesn't have any power steering. It's got a manual transmission, of course. Joke about that. I would never buy an automatic transmission Volkswagen Beetle. And it seems to run pretty good. It started every time I've tried to fire it over. And it's kind of a cute, funky car. We aren't going to be able to fit 8 teenagers into it, which is good. And I'm driving her down the highway right now. We just crested 50 miles an hour and we're climbing, which is good. I figure 65 miles an hour being top speed is not a bad thing in a teenager's first car. So that's kind of what the auction's all about. It's a way for us to stock up on vehicles since it's too hard to rely on trades. We don't have enough trades in the dealership in any given month to supply our used car inventory. And we get to go to an auction where they treat us reasonably, offer us some protections as buyers, and then we get a look at a lot of vehicles all at once, buy what we need, and then bring it back home. So that being said, I'm going to finish my inspection of this rig. Hit about 63 miles an hour now. The heat's on, she's all good and warm, and we'll head back to the dealership. Hope you have a good afternoon. I'll be having a lot of fun test driving my recently purchased used